Hello everyone, welcome to my channel again. Thank you for taking the time. For today's video, I would like to summarize a bit about the topic of what has happened to Islam in Malaysia. Now 2025 has opened up to be a very challenging year when we have witnessed in this country, particularly that of Malaysia, that several things that has happened to put Islam in a very questionable light in relation to whether can Islam be part of a global community or is Islam something that will destroy the global community. Firstly, we see the Najib gathering where we saw, I think it's mostly Muslims and Malays gathering, I think about 3,000 of them as reported in the media, to support a former Prime Minister who has been found, without a doubt, guilty of corruption. Now, this shows that Islam seems to be supporting corruption, and this is something which I do not think part of the teaching of Islam, but apparently the popular or the populist version of Islam seems to be taking this to heart. The next thing that happened also was the attack on the Christmas and Christians, where we see one political party taking to task a minister who has made a celebration of Christmas at his ministry, even though he has already done Deepavali, but then the one that is attacked is about Christmas. And at the same time, there was also an attack on another minister, non-Muslim, and claiming that she is a Christian missionary or a Christian who is trying to turn Muslims into that religion, even though all she did was to write a biographical account of how she had become the person that she is now. Now, this is very strange because in the time of the Prophet Muhammad himself, as I have pointed out many times, had to ask the help of a Christian king to protect the Muslims. And there are many incidences where the Christians were dealing with the Christians in terms of discourse and peaceful discussions, as well as looking at how to live together in a peaceful manner. So certainly this is certainly different than what the Prophet had done, and it's important for Malaysians to know the different kind or the two kinds of Islam or the two faces of Islam that exist in this country. The face of Islam that can actually foster a global community in peaceful harmony and progressing together and thriving together. Or there is an Islam that is going to destroy this global community as well as this nation, and this is something that needs to be understood. The third thing is the recent mosque violence, in which we can see some worshippers kicking and punching a person who was thought to be violating the sanctity of the mosque, when in fact it turned out that the person was mentally challenged or has a mental sickness, and he, in a sense, wasn't trying to do any harm. It's just that he did not know how to act appropriately. And I have explained in a video that the Prophet Muhammad probably would not have treated the person in the same manner that the Muslims in Malaysia had. And so this is admitted also by one Mufti as well as the chairperson of the mosque himself when he explained the real situation of the incident. We have also witnessed the act of one political party claiming to defend Islam by declaring those who do not support the party and that coalition to be enemies of Islam, whether they are Muslims or whether they are non-Muslims. For the non-Muslims, that party had accused of being a kafir harbi, meaning an enemy of Islam. But in the Qunut Nazila incident in Parliament, is declaring anyone. It doesn't matter whether these people are from the DAP or are they Chinese. It doesn't matter. As long as they are not supporting this party and the coalition partners, then they are the enemies of Islam, which is a very dangerous thing to have uttered. And then we see that there is this political party, same one, claiming to defend Islam, collecting donation and declaring jihad or holy struggle to pay off a lawsuit that was lost with regard to slander. And thus this paints a picture that Islam, in one sense, not just accepting the idea of slandering other people, meaning telling untruth of other people, but it's also a kind of a holy struggle, a jihad, and using the mechanism of donation. So there are two aspects here. One is the sadaqah, which is a voluntary act of charity, which is supposed to be something for good, helping poor people, helping people in need. But here it is helping to propagate, in a sense, or to accept slander, and also to declare it as a holy struggle. A holy struggle is usually someone standing in the face of political difficulty, someone facing the enemy in war, so that they would defend it with their life. This is a jihad, a holy struggle. And this is now equated with the idea of fighting for upholding slander. And so this has shown Islam to be in a very questionable situation, and this is not going to bode well for the country as well as the world if many of such things people do not understand, that there is the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad himself, who has advocated peaceful living in harmony and always having compassion for anyone who did not understand Islam or was not intending to do harm, and also the Prophet Muhammad, who has shown forgiveness instead of the Muslims reacting in terms of violence or insulting and accusing animosity from non-Muslims. I have read a lot of the scripture and then have understood Islam not in this light, and that is why I have written much with regard to this issue. And I hope that all Malaysians, whether we are Muslims and non-Muslim, and also all people of the world, to actually consider which kind of Islam is there by having a bit more knowledge of it from some of the writings that we have or that I have produced, to make a decision that the most of the Islam that has been practiced so far, that has shown a negative impact on society, is not really from the Prophet Muhammad, but is actually from the narrow-mindedness of the Muslims themselves, who proclaim to love Islam but actually do not understand the way of the Prophet, and also uses race as well as politics of populism to gain power in order for them to do as they please under the name or under the guise of making Islam great. So with that, I would like to ask all of us to educate ourselves in order to understand the two faces of Islam, which Islam will actually help us live together harmoniously, progressively, and thrive to become great humanity, or which is the other one, which will destroy us through insults, through the support of crimes, as well as to ask people to believe that there is enmity and always enmity between Muslims and non-Muslims. Thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Professor Dr. Muhammad Tajuddin, and I have written a book called Not the Islam I Know. This book is a compilation of many of my writings over the past 15 years with regard to what is called Islamic issues in the country. And the main intention of the book is actually to show that many of the practices, perspectives, values, and actions of most Muslims may not be the same, or is usually not the same as the teachings represented by the tradition of the Prophet Muhammad through the Hadith and the Quran, from my own perspective of understanding it. Now, I hope you would be able to understand Islam a bit better, so that you would differentiate between the practices of Muslims in their political and social context with regards to the differences to the actual teachings of the Prophet Muhammad itself.